Nash equilibrium. Here, we are dealing with firms in a non-cooperative oligopoly. Each firm chooses its best strategy given the expected reactions of its competitors. It is also worth noting that no firm can increase profits by unilaterally changing its strategy. That is, to increase your profits, you must consider the expected reactions of your competitors. Firms are interdependent, thus making decisions to maximize their own profit without colluding. At equilibrium, each firm produces at a level where price is equal to average cost, earning just normal profit. That is, there will be no incentive for entry or exit into the market. So that we are all on the same page on this, recall that if a firm earns normal profit, that implies that such firm's total revenue is only enough to cover economic cost. Economic cost is equal to total accounting cost plus the implicit opportunity cost. So in the long run, since firms will only earn normal profits, that is, the economic profit is equal to 0, then there will be no incentive to exit the market, since at least existing firms are still able to cover their economic cost, and there will also be no incentive to enter into the market, since new firms that intend to come into the market already can see that they cannot make economic profit. Or better put, they cannot make positive economic profit. Nash equilibrium is a core concept within game theory. Game theory is a set of tools that decision makers use to consider the responses of rival decision makers. Still on Nash equilibrium, the prisoner's dilemma is a classic example used to illustrate the concept of Nash equilibrium in game theory. Let us look at an example. Here we are dealing with A and B. A and B are arrested. Each can either cooperate, that is stay silent, or defect, that is confess. So let us see the choices they have. If A and B both cooperate, that is stay silent, A would get 1 year jail term and B will also serve 1 year jail term. Now imagine that one confesses, let's say B confessed while A cooperates. So that implies that A that cooperated would get 5-year jail term. Recall that A remained silent, stayed silent, while B that confessed would go home free. That is 0-year jail term. Now let us assume that B cooperates, but A confesses That implies that A that confessed will go home free, while B that remained silent will get 5-year jail term. If both confess, that's here, then that implies that each serves 4-year jail term. So the best collective outcome for these two is this. It is for both of them to stay silent. A dominant strategy is the best choice regardless of the other prisoner's action. To determine the dominant strategy for A, I would focus on B. So let's get started with this column. Let us assume that B stays silent, that is B cooperates, then A will have two choices. A could either stay silent or confess. If A should stay silent, then A would get 1-year jail term. If A should confess, then A would get 0 jail term. That is, A will go home free. So a better choice is for A to confess. Now, let us look at this column. What if B confesses, which is a better choice for A? A could stay silent or A could confess. If A stays silent, then A would get 5-year jail term. But if A confesses, then A would get 4-year jail term. Which is better? This is obviously better, and that implies that a better choice is for A to confess. So if you look at the first that we discussed, a better choice for A was to confess. This second one, when B confesses, a better choice for A is also for A to confess. So that implies that A's dominant strategy is to confess. You can try the dominant strategy for B out, but the dominant strategy for B is also to confess. Nash equilibrium occurs when neither player can reduce their jail term by unilaterally changing strategy. A better way to define this Nash equilibrium is this. Nash equilibrium is a cell where both prisoners' dominant strategies intersect. So that we are all on the same page, let us determine the dominant strategy for A and the dominant strategy for B. We have determined that of A on the previous slide, but I will do a quick recap. So to determine the dominant strategy for A, I would focus on B. So if B cooperates, which choice should A go with? Is it to stay silent or to confess? It is obviously to confess, because confessing has a lower jail term than staying silent. So now that we have determined A's choice if B cooperates, now it is time for us to determine A's choice if B confesses. A will obviously go with confess, as confessing as a lower jail term compared to cooperating. So we have determined the choice that A would go with if B confesses. Now it is time for us to determine the dominant strategy for B. To determine the dominant strategy for B, we would focus on A. So if A stays silent, which choice will B go with? This is B here. Which choice will B go with? B will obviously go with this, because confessing has a lower jail term compared to staying silent. What if A confesses? Which choice will B go with? It is obvious. B would go with confessing, because confessing has a lower jail term compared to B staying silent. So if you look at all of the 4 cells, the cells, or better put, the cell where both dominant strategies intersect is this. So that implies that the Nash equilibrium here is for B to confess and also for A to confess. It is worth noting that in some game theories, there might be no Nash equilibrium, while in some, you could have multiple Nash equilibria. So the Nash equilibrium here is confess for both prisoners with jail terms of 4 years. Enough of prisoner's dilemma. Now let us focus on oligopoly market. In the context of oligopoly market, the Nash equilibrium is an equilibrium defined by the characteristic that none of the oligopolists can increase its profits by unilaterally changing its pricing strategy. It is worth noting that what we have here are all profits. So a better way to get started is to convert this exhibit to the diagram we are used to. So here we have A, then we have here B. So A has 2 choices, low price and high price. So I can divide this into 4 quadrants. So low, that is undercutting price, then high price, that's coming from here. Then for B, here we have low, that's for this, low. Then for B, here we have high. It's also worth noting that we can fill in these profit numbers. So let's get started. A, low price, that's undercut price. This is A. Undercutting price is 50. But B, low price, that's 70. So a better way to go about this is to use a black colored pen for B, and that will be 70. So now let us move on to this quadrant. A is 300, so 300, then comma, what is B? B low price still, even though A is high price here, so B low price, so that's 350. Now A is 80, this is A at low price, this is low, that's 80. What is B? B at high price is 0. Now A at high price, this is A at high price, that's 500. Then B at high price is 300. So now let us determine the Nash equilibrium. I will get started by determining the dominant strategy for A. So to determine the dominant strategy for A, we need to focus on B. So let's look here. So if B go with low price, that is undercutting price, what is A's better choice? Is it 50 or 300? 300 is obviously higher in terms of profit than 50. So what if B increases price? What will A go with? Should A go with 80 or should it be 500? So that we are all on the same page, let me change this to a black colored 0. So should it be 80 or 500? This is glaring. It will obviously be 500. 500 is higher than 80. So now it is time for us to determine the dominant strategy for B. So to determine the dominant strategy for B, this should be our focus. So if A undercut price, what would B go for? Is it this or is it this? This is glaring. It will obviously be 70 because 70 is higher than 0. Now let us look at this. If A increases price, which choice will B go for? Is it 350 or 300? This also is glaring. The higher profit is 350. So if it is 350, the cell where both dominant strategies intersect is obviously here. So that implies that the Nash equilibrium would be this: B undercut price while A increases price. And that is profit of 300 for A and profit of 350 for B. So this is the Nash equilibrium. B undercuts price, that is low price, and A charges high price. Let us move on.